So if I could choose any weather as specific as I want to be out in, you know, forget photography for a second, just to be out in and to enjoy the landscape, it would be summer rain, light rain in summer when it's not cold, it's temperate. There really is just something about it. And when we're talking woodland photography, it's a wonderful coincidence that it's very positive conditions to be out in, photographing as well. Oh, and by the way, we are back in the Lake District National Park. It feels like proper special to be back in the lakes, it does. This is somewhere that keeps my soul burning, you know. This is my favourite place in the world, like, there's no two ways about it, without my camera. So it's an absolute pleasure to be back, and I hope that I can keep that gratitude going. Unreal. So I've basically, I know Cumbria and the Lake District National Park really well. I'm from here, I'm from Cumbria, and you know, I know so much about the lakes because of landscape photography as well. However, if you'd have asked me anything about the woodlands, you know, anything aside from the fells and the lakes, I wouldn't have had a clue. I would not have had a clue, because I was never really that into woodland photography. And you know, this is such a huge positive for me, because I'm coming back now to somewhere that I know so well, or that I thought I knew so well. And because of this newfound passion for woodland, it's opened up this whole new world for me in somewhere that you know, is so familiar to me, and that's class. That's absolutely amazing. So that's something else that I'm really grateful for. So I've chose a woodland today, a beautiful ancient woodland that is in the South Lakes, and what is class about this is we're up on a bit of a hill, and because we're getting this kind of drizzly mizzly weather today, it's really atmospheric, and actually the higher up we go, it's on quite a steep hill actually, we kind of basically go into the low clouds. So every now and again it's almost like we're in fog, so really atmospheric, and definitely, you know, absolute mint conditions for woodland photography. So that's something that I really want to try and make the most of today. But of course, it is just an absolute pleasure to be back upon this sacred soil of the Lake District National Park. Fingers crossed as well, of course, we get one or two decent snaps as well. Oh man, so the rain is coming down thick and fast now. It is beautiful, let me tell you. It's one of them where I've just embraced getting wet. Can't really do anything about it. But it's definitely helping with the conditions in this woodland like I was talking about earlier. However, one thing that I've really found is that the fog or the mist, whatever it is, these beautiful atmospheric patches of fog that keep passing through, as nice as they are, I had to stop letting it dictate what I was photographing, because I'd get myself set up, or an area of the woodland would look attractive, but by the time I'd go to start figuring out my composition, the fog was gone. So I had to kind of get that out of my head and just kind of go back to like normal woodland photography and just forget about the foggy areas, if that makes sense. But anyway, I found this absolute gem of a subject here in this little stream. I've been looking for a woodland stream for ages, and yeah, this is awesome. So it's took me ages, you know, setting up this composition. Tiny little movements, either up, down, left or right, can make such a huge difference to your woodland compositions. But it's a great way to learn, you know, if you want to practice composition, get in the woodland. I think I've finally settled on a shot, but something about it doesn't sit right with me. But it's one of them where I couldn't possibly explain to you what it is. I don't know. Everything feels like decent, but just not quite 100%. But perhaps I'll let you guys be the judge when you see the photograph. So I've based this whole shot around this stream, which I'm happy about. I think it's a wonderful subject, and it's helping to lead the eye up through the scene, really. And we've got these really cool two trees that are going to be towards the top of my frame that are kind of crisscrossing over each other, which I think is really cool. Now, someone asked me, commented on my last video, asking me why I never shoot in portrait dimension in the woodland, and my answer to him was just a coincidence. I've nothing against it. I just hadn't come across, you know, a scene that I felt would have been better off with a portrait orientation until now. So yeah, this one definitely suits. It's a story of the bottom of the composition up to the top, and mostly that stream that's leading us through, which is absolutely awesome. There's two main things that I want to mention here, and it's all to do with this stream. I've got my Misty 6-stop ND filter on the front, which I don't know if this will be to everyone's taste, because it's given me an 8-second exposure. Basically what I really like about this stream are the reflections and all the white highlights, the bright highlights that are helping to keep the eye leading through this scene. So I'm trying to accentuate that with the ND filter, and that's why I definitely haven't got my polarizing filter on here, because I want to capture these reflections and all them highlights, which is working well. So ISO 100, 8-second exposure. I'm focused on this main cascade here that's down in the foreground, shooting at f5.6, which, like always, means that my immediate foreground should be nicely pin sharp in focus, and that focus should fall off as it goes into the background, sort of, i.e. all them really nice pine trees off there as well, where we're getting quite a lot of nice light. So that background is really important as well. But yeah, it's a pleasing scene, it's a decent image, but there's something about it that's not quite sitting right with me. Perhaps I'm being a little bit harsh on myself, but this is my first Lake District shot for about 4 months. So at the start of this video, I said how much I love being out in summer rain, basically. You know, when it's raining a little bit, but it's not necessarily cold. Regardless of the fact that I said that, I usually do get to the point where I'm like soaked wet through, and I just kind of think, yeah, I've had enough for the day. It ends up becoming like a little bit miserable, as much as I still enjoy it. But not today, not today. I'm honestly loving every single second of this. This is absolutely mint, and I don't want to go home. On top of that, I wanted to stop and kind of show you these kind of scenes behind me here. Whatever this kind of like fog or mist is, it's come back and it looks spectacular in this location. So I guess I need to act quickly, probably able to stop chatting away to use, and see if I can come up with a composition around here. So I found, well, I was going to say I found a composition, but I found a subject in an area that I think is worth exploring a little bit more. So I'm quickly, oh my God, quickly getting the tripod set up, and it's this tree here. See how it's kind of on a slant? That is an oak tree, and it's amongst all of these pines, and you can see this section here is just filled with this fog, which is class. So I'm going to try my best to make something of that, but I've got to be quick.
So I explored the compositional opportunities that surrounded this oak tree, and it just wasn't quite doing it for me. Something wasn't working. I eventually settled on a couple of compositions that included some of these foxgloves in the foreground, and there's one particular image that's probably the best of a bad bunch, really.
Man, so to try and explain to you in earnest what has happened over the past probably 2 hours, basically, yeah, this is the oak tree there somewhere behind me. It was really frustrating because the scene as I was stood there was beautiful, and it was giving me a certain really positive emotion to look at the oak tree, but then to try and get it into a photograph wasn't working. I wasn't able to get that emotion across, which we all know is one of the biggest frustrations of landscape photography in general. And then basically the fog came in, and I mean, like, it pretty much like it is now. Look, it became just like normal fog. That's what it is. It wasn't, you know, a bit of drizzle. It wasn't a bit of low cloud at the top of the hill. It was just full-blown fog. And basically I've spent the past couple of hours just running around frustrated, being unable to get a composition, and it's been really annoying, to be honest, which I'm a bit gutted about because I've had such a mint day and I don't want it to end on a negative. To try and put a positive spin on it, you know, woodland photography is hard, like, it's really challenging, but I know for a fact it's that fact that makes it so exciting. It makes me want to keep coming back to the woods. You know, if it was really, really easy, I know I wouldn't be stood here in this forest right now, because it just wouldn't excite me, you know. So I know that the challenge is such a positive thing, but when it happens, it's so difficult to remember that, you know, when you're stood. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been there in the woodland, in the fog. Everything looks so good and magical, ethereal, photogenic above all, and you feel like an idiot because you cannot find a photograph for the life of you. And yeah, it's been really frustrating in that sense, but at the same time I am perfectly happy to admit that this is a good indication that I've still got a long way to go with my woodland photography. You know, it might sound a bit stupid me saying that. I'm a full-time landscape photographer at the end of the day, but it's just the fact of the matter, unfortunately, and I'm well up for the challenge, don't get me wrong. But yeah, just feeling a little bit gutted about the way the evenings went. Just a little bit. Right, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you've enjoyed this adventure as much as I have. I really have enjoyed today. It's been class, and what a treat above everything to be back in this wonderful national park, like my favourite place on planet Earth. class. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and do comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts as always. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Out.